everybody, welcome to the Mike Method.
And we have a very special episode today. And why is it special?
Because we're going to be talking about leadership and what it means to me and also your daughters.
That's right.
It's really fun.
And so what are the types of things that listeners are going to expect to hear about? Like, what are the topics we're going to talk about?
Yeah, school, friendships, maturity, those type of things, what leadership means to me as a girl that is in grade 8, and all types of things.
We talked about emotional intelligence.
Yeah, we did talk about emotional intelligence.
I think we'll talk about mentorship.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about leadership.
Yes.
Both of our views, right?
Yeah,
like
both of our views on everything, basically.
All right, well, you know what? Let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Well, thanks for making time to be on the podcast, Lillie.
Of course, I got you.
So, we've been talking about doing this podcast for a while now.
For a year, basically.
Yeah, something like that. And I'm glad we're finally doing it. And I guess I wanted to ask you about what you've learned so far about leadership, whether it's from listening to me or from coaches or what you learned at school. I'm just curious what you've seen so far what great leadership looks like to you.
Yeah. Well, you have amazing leadership, first of all, and I've seen a lot of leadership things that you have done. And a thing that I think that we can all do better at is you can always do better at leadership. You can always be a better leader. You can always act as a better leader. You can always improve as a better leader for other people.
Yeah.
And there definitely is people that are looking up to you and thinking, that person is such an amazing leader. So I just learned leadership is something that you can always just get better at. And no matter how good you are, you can always just be better and learn.
And what do you think the qualities of a good leader are? What do you think good leaders do that makes them a good leader?
Probably kindness and resilience. And communication is a really big one. Communication is a really big key to leadership. Yeah. And just, being yourself, helping out, doing everything that you can for all the people. And
when you think about examples of leadership in your life, what are the different types of leaders that you've run into so far?
I mean, obviously you're an amazing leader. You help people all the time and I really look up to you. Steph Corker, I look up to her a lot. She's definitely a leader for a lot. She helps me with so many things and she's always been there for me. And so many people have just been such a good leader to me. Our school head, Miss Lavelle, she's been so amazing and she's been amazing with her leadership and just making the school better and just, setting an example for us, being so kind, giving us advice, being open to talk anytime, and genuinely caring for her students.
And in the sports world, between, I don't know how many ski coaches you've had now, and then you've got field hockey coaches, you've had volleyball coaches in school and in club, at the beach, pickleball coach, if I missed any type of coaches.
Track.
Yeah, all right, track and field as well. So think about those coaches and what are the things that you've noticed? And you can think about specific examples if you want, but what makes them a great leader as a coach? What are the types of things that they have done or helped you with?
They just have such amazing advice, whether it's just, go out there. Don't think about winning, just do your best. And if you make a mistake, get up again and make more mistakes because that is how you learn. And I feel like just being not hard, but harder on me just makes me just more competitive.
Yeah.
And it helps my gameplay more.
And when you think about specific examples of coaches, maybe you've got in volleyball, you've had multiple coaches, right? Depending on the different programs you've been in. When you think about that sport, what are the types of things that they tried to sort of not drill into you, but try to remind you of on a regular basis about how you need to show up?
Miss Marcotte, which was our grade 7 volleyball coach. Yeah. You know what? Don't think about the mistakes. Think about the highlights.
Yeah.
And she gives an amazing advice to everyone. And she made sure that the team bonding was amazing. She would always be there for us if we needed a hug. And she would always pull us into a group talk and be like, hey, everyone, it's going to be okay. A couple mistakes is fine. That's how you learn. And it's nothing to be upset about.
And then when you got into club for volleyball, you had 3 different coaches, actually.
I did.
And so what did you learn from them in terms of, like how did they show up as coaches specifically to help to support you?
James was always just super amazing, and he was always just so like hyped up to do volleyball, and it was really like good because I was taking in that energy, and it made me show up as a better volleyball player, and especially on the court. And Shun really drilled that like hardcore, like we got this, and like the toughness into me. And he was like, you got this, Lillie. Like, I believe that you do. And then Coach Yash was just so amazing, and he would always give me pep talks and tell me about the gameplay and what I need to do better, and he would never sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
He would always just say, hey, like, you need to do this. This is how you're going to get better at either like setting or spiking or, like all of those things. And he was super straightforward. So having those three coaches with three different things that they're really good at and their different coaching skills was really good because I got all of the different versions of different types of coaching.
Got it. And how do you feel that they brought together the team overall, right? Because the girls that you're playing with, you hadn't met any of them.
Yeah.
And you all came together to play together on that club team, and you ended up getting gold in the provincials, which is a big deal. Yeah. So what do you think they did to help to contribute to all of you coming together in such a positive way?
I think they just, put us in teams where we didn't know each other. I had one of my best friends, Renee. They would split me and Renee up.
Yeah.
And they would be like, so you guys like talk about what we need to do better. And we would huddle and we'd be like, okay, like it's okay, guys. And we'd pat each other's backs and we'd be like, it's okay. And then we would give tips to each other. And we were like, do this play or do that play. And it really just made us come together. And after like not even a couple weeks of training, we were all just so close. And it was such an amazing bond because we were all just so happy. And the coaches were like getting us together and putting us on different teams with different people. And sometimes, obviously, they would let us pick our teams.
Yeah.
But mostly, they would be like, hey, you go over there, you go over there. And they just, like, really, like, reminded us to, like, say our names and cheer each other on. And I think that was really helpful for the team getting so close.
And I'm curious, like in your ski career, so you started skiing when you were 2.5, and you started in a program when you were 3.
Yeah.
So it's been this, I think this is going on to,
I think it's 5.
Year 11.
Yeah. Year 11.
Of your development. And so I guess I'm curious, like there's a portion of leadership that's self-leadership in terms of how you choose to show up every day.
Yeah.
And I know that your coach has talked a lot about that in skiing.
Yeah.
What are the types of things you've learned from, because that's more of a solo thing versus the team sports that you play in separately. So what have you learned from a self-leadership perspective about what you need to do to show up as your very best on the mountain?
Well, I haven't gotten a lot of advice. Like they were like, you know what? It doesn't matter if you fall. I think you just go for it. Try it. I mean, one of my coaches, Millie, she taught me how to like do a 180 on a jump, and she was like, okay, you got this. It doesn't matter if you fall. And I did fall, but I got back up, and the next time I completed it and I got it. And she was like, you know what? Just be confident and just go. And then she was like, you know what? No one's going to judge you. Everybody falls. Even the best people in the world, the people that do like the Red Bull skiing, they fall all the time.
Right.
And probably they're doing much harder things, but it's really the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think that advice, like, you know what? Don't listen to anyone else around you. Don't look at anyone else around you. Just focus on yourself and focus on like the spin and where you are at the moment. Like what is your focus going to be on? My focus is doing a 180 off this jump. Great. Just think about that.
What I like about the message that Millie gave you there is that it's you versus you. It's not like
it's not you versus anybody.
Yeah,
it's
like
you versus you.
Yeah, right. You're competing with yourself. Like, are you making progress better to today than you were yesterday? Not how you compare to anybody else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great message from a self-leadership perspective.
Agreed.
And what other types of leadership lessons have you learned along the way, or things that you've noticed that people that you admire as leaders seem to do on a really consistent basis?
Yeah, I mean, people like Steph Quarter, Corker, sorry, who I look up to so much. She's always so kind to people. She's never really mean to people. Whenever someone comes up to her, it's just like she has this light around her, and it's just so amazing to see. Like, she like bakes like people that she doesn't even know that well cookies, and she's just like so kind to everyone and not afraid to speak up for what she thinks should be done. And I really look up to that. And I think that her like just being and putting so much kindness into the world really makes a difference. Even if she doesn't think it makes that big of an impact, it really does make a lot of an impact. I mean, it does for me, definitely, on the people that she hangs out with, or the people that are around her, or just random people that are on the street, because her light just glows.
It's interesting, I always have thought that the highest compliment that you could give a leader is to call them a mentor. And I know that you refer to Steph
as my mentor.
And I think that's kind of the pinnacle of leadership, is that somebody would speak of you in that way, in a way that, because I think, when I think about my mentors, right? So when I think about Walt and I think about Guff, I look at the positive qualities that they have, and I want to emulate those positive qualities, because I deeply appreciate that they show up that way in the world, as men. And, very quickly after I met them, I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch to see how they show up. And the things that I like, I'm going to take that and I'm going to do that too. And it's really shifted really everything in terms of how I show up. I mean, I also felt that way about my dad, because he was a wonderful mentor to me as well. And I feel super grateful that, I was able to learn from him while he was still alive, to be able to apply that to how, not just how I show up in the world in general, but also how I show up as a leader.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you have your mentors like Guff and Walt and your dad. I think that's really a great thing to have. And I think definitely in your life, you should have a mentor, or just someone that you really look up to, because, mine is Steph, and mine is also my dad. Like, they just do so many amazing things, and they're just such kind people, and they spread so much kindness to the world. Even people that they don't know, they always just have a funny and like nice and just like such a comfortable presence that they have around people, and they just are like, hey, like, you like this? Me too. And they can just start a conversation. And I think that's a really good thing to have as a leader too. It's just really being able to make conversation.
So you've got your first coaching opportunity to come up. You're in grade 8 now, and you are going to be coaching the grade 5 volleyball team this year at school, which is a big deal. And I'm curious if those grade 5, so you're going to spend a year with them, helping them to get really, get their skill sets up.
Well, a season.
A season. Sorry. I'm sorry. A volleyball season. How would you like for them to be talking about Coach Lillie? So the end of this volleyball season, which I guess is December, right? So they're going to be looking back on this volleyball season and thinking about how you showed up for them as a leader and as a coach. How would you like them to be telling their friends or their parents about how you showed up for them?
Yeah, I just want them to be like, you know what? Like, they go home and they're like, look, like, mom, dad, or like whoever they look up to, or whoever's taking care of them, to be like, just say like, hey, like, Lily taught me this, Lily told me that. Like, she's like, I just want to make a positive impact on their life. I want to be someone that they can like look up to, someone that they can get advice to. And I don't want to just be their coach. I also want to be someone that they can come to with anything. I want them to be able to come to me and be like, hey, like, I'm having some like mental problems with volleyball. And I'll be like, you know what? Like, talk to me about it. I don't want to just be a coach. I don't want to just be named a coach. I don't want to just help you with your skills. I want to physically and mentally be there for you. And I want you to do your best. And I want you to remember me and be like, like, Coach Lillie, like, helped me so much. And I just want to make a positive impact on the grade 5s.
That's great. I mean, what I think is really interesting is nowhere in there did you say something like, well, I want to show them how to overhand serve, or I want to show them how to, improve their bump, or, the difference between a beach set and an indoor set, right? Like, the things you talked about from a coach perspective, those are all actually leadership qualities that you want to bring to the season coming up to the grade fives. I think that's admirable because obviously you've had great coaching all along the way. And now it's your opportunity to take what you've seen and what you've learned and apply it to the role that you play with the grade fives.
Yeah, agreed. I really just want to make a positive impact on anybody, even if it's just complimenting someone on the street, or if it's cold, buying a homeless man a tea, or just, like being someone that can make a positive impact on the world and can make a change.
That's great. I'm curious if you have any questions for me. Like, I've been doing this sort of leadership thing for a while now, and I'm curious if there's anything that you want to know about leadership that maybe we haven't talked about yet.
Well, there's a lot of people that look up to you and ask you for advice. Do you ever get stressed out, or do you ever, feel like, oh my gosh, this is too much, like so many people are looking up to me? Or are you just like, you know what, like I'm just gonna help as many people as I can?
Yeah.
Like how do you deal with being such a big role in so many people's lives?
I think it's tough. One of the things that I've felt challenged by when that started to happen is I recognize that there's a couple different ways for me to approach it. So one way, I'm going to use an analogy. So the analogy would be, imagine somebody fell in a hole and they're down in the hole, and I've been in the hole before, so I know how to get out. So one option is I could jump in the hole with them, and then I could show them how to get out. Except now we're both in a hole.
Yeah.
And so that's when it's like empathy has gone too far.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm living their emotions. And I've got caught in that, and it feels exhausting to me sometimes because I feel like I'm taking on their stress, I'm taking on their emotions, and I can still be objective and I can still, share experiences from my life or provide advice, but it's really tiring for me.
Yeah.
And what I've had to learn how to do, and I still learn how to do, is how to have boundaries around that. So the boundary is, instead of jumping in the hole, I stand outside the hole and say, okay, you're in a hole and I know this sucks, but I've been in a hole before and I know how to get out. So I'm going to coach you and guide you through how to get out of the hole, but I'm not jumping in the hole with you. And so that's what I think, is closer to compassion, which is the ability to see that somebody is going through something, to understand the emotions that they're going through. But I don't have to relive it, my personal experience, but I have to live the emotional context with them. And, if I do feel resentful, then that's because I have allowed my boundaries to slip. And I need to own that, because just because another person's asked me for help, it doesn't mean I actually have to help them.
Yeah.
Right. It's a choice I get to make. But it also means I also have to watch my own emotions and my own energy, because, I could get pulled into the hole by not realizing, and really it's me jumping in the hole. And I don't want to be in the hole. Like, I have my own life and I have my own little holes to deal with and figure out myself. So, I also think of it as a great honor. Like, if anybody refers to me as a mentor or calls and asks me for advice or help, I think to myself, like, they could have called anyone and they called me. There are times, though, where people call me and I'm like, I'm not the right person to help them with this. Like, I actually think they should talk to a therapist, or I think that there's somebody that I know that would be better help. And then I think to myself, well, I can still help them by pointing them in the right direction or suggesting a book or a podcast without it physically being me that helps that person. And I think, okay, well, I'm still helping them, even if I didn't do the thing, whatever the thing is that they needed. So that's how I've come to understand it, in a way that I can give of myself, but I can also protect myself through that at the same time.
Yeah, that's amazing. That really taught me a lot about how to protect myself by having empathy, but also not jumping into the hole with them, but coaching them through it.
What else are you curious about? Like, what other leadership things have you heard me talk about, or, just have been on your mind that you're curious?
You know what? I don't really know, because I've never really thought about something like that. Like, how do you ever have someone, or go, even as a really big person that does leadership?
Yeah.
Do you ever also go to other people for help and you ask them and they're also your leader?
Yeah. I mean, I have a forum group, right? Which you know about, that I've been in for over 22 years now. And that forum is actually a group that I go to ask for advice. So if I get stuck and I'm not sure what to do, I go to Steph as well and ask her advice. I also will go to my mentors, Walt and Guff. And if I'm stuck on something and I'm not sure where to go next with it, I go to mom too, right? I ask mama's advice because she's very smart. So, if I'm stuck on something, I will kind of share with her where I'm at. I work with a lot of really smart people, right? So whether it's Stephanie or Steffi, or it's the facilitators, they're also, very, very smart people. And there's lots of other people on the operations team as well. So in the business, I asked for their advice because I didn't want to hire smart people to tell them what to do. Yeah. I wanted to hire smart people so they tell me what to do. And so sometimes I have I have a wide amount of information. So I know a lot of topics, but I only know about that much on the topic. Yeah. But many of them have more of a narrow range of what they understand, but it's really deep. Yeah. So then, I can go to them and say, on this topic, they're the expert. I really need to go to them and get their advice. Right. And so I kind of I don't really think of leader as somebody that needs to be like a boss or, even a peer. It could be somebody that actually technically reports to me. But in this thing, I think of them as a leader, and I'm going to go to them and ask for their advice. Yeah, that's amazing advice. And I'm really glad that you shared that with me. Well, I'm curious about, so we've talked a lot at home about emotional intelligence, and we kind of talked about it since you were really little. I'm curious, when you think about your emotional intelligence and the fact that you're always growing that emotional intelligence, what are the areas that you've learned? I know mom works a lot with you on it. What are the things that you've learned about your own emotional intelligence that have been really important to you to continue to apply? So obviously everyone can work on their emotional intelligence, whether you're really amazing at it or you're not so amazing with your emotional intelligence. Everybody can work on their emotional intelligence. A couple things that I've been doing is just not creating conflict and not only keeping to myself, but not keeping such a giant group of friends. Instead of having a group of friends that all know each other, having friends from Whistler, like my best friend Camille, or having best friends that go to different schools like Renee and stuff like that, having Jessica and Jada, and Jada lives down the street. So it's just so amazing that I get to have those friends that have basically the same emotional intelligence as me, and that they also have different groups and friends, and it's not all one big group. Yeah. And we don't have basically any conflict. Yeah. And I'm friends with a lot of older girls from my school, like Zoe and Audrey and Melina and so many other people that I look up to. Sherry, who just graduated.
Love Sherry. And they really guided me through the way. And also Camille from Whistler, she's their age too. They're 2 years older than me. Yeah. And they just really have the same emotional intelligence than me, and they get me and they understand and they guide me through. They really do understand what I'm going through because they've been in my spot before, and they've lived where I have, and they know about all the things that are going on in my life. Yeah. And I know that they have the, emotional intelligence to not go and be like, hey, Lillie said this, Lillie said that, and keep it to themselves. Yeah. And actually, instead of doing that, try to help me and try to guide me through. And even though they might not know the best answer, they really try to support me. Okay. And they're always they're there for me. And they're just so amazing, and they're just great people in my life. And it's just so nice to have friends that have the same emotional intelligence, and we can all just work on different things. And I think being friends with people that either have more emotional, intelligence than me or less, we can all teach each other things. People that have, that are less mature than me, it's fun to hang out with them. But as I'm around them, I'm also making a good impact for the emotional intelligence that they have. And when I'm hanging out with older people, they're spreading their emotional intelligence on me. So it's a big impact on me. And I'm really glad that I get to have all these friends from different places, from Whistler, from Vancouver, from West Vancouver, just all over the world. Sherry doesn't even live in Vancouver anymore.
Yeah, she's going to school on the East Coast now, right?
East Coast. Yeah. But I'm just And Steph too.
Yeah.
Like she lives in Squamish.
Yeah.
So it's just like amazing to have so many friends that have the same emotional intelligence and not have just one group of friends that all know each other, that are just like locked together, and just a bunch of different friends with different emotional intelligence, with different types of maturity, with different, like personalities or traits, or, yeah. It's just really nice to have all those friends.
So imagine that we could build a time machine.
Yeah.
And we could go back to when you were in kindergarten.
Right.
Because you've done all junior school now. You're done with that, right? You're in
Yes.
senior school now. So what advice would you give to your kindergarten self? Or what would you want her to know that you know now, that you're like, oh, I really got to go back and tell my young self about this, about what she's going to experience and how she needs to show up in the world in the best way possible between now and when she gets into grade 8? What would you tell her?
The thing is, if we're being realistic, if I went back and told my kindergarten self all these things like about emotional intelligence, she would probably take it as the wrong thing and wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. Okay. And I would want her to not know about what happens in the future, because I've gone through a lot of things. I would want her to enjoy what's present now, and I don't want her to worry about what's going to happen in the future, because I worry what's happening in the future all the time. But when I was in kindergarten, I didn't have a care in the world. I mean, I had my family, I had my friends, I had my sports. And I think if I had a time machine and I went back, I would just say, you know what, like, enjoy just having fun and not thinking about anything. And just having different types of friends. Don't worry about what's going to happen in the future. Like, don't even think about what's going to happen in the future, because it's all going to work out, and it always works out.
So maybe your grade 12 self could jump into a time machine and come back and tell your grade 8 self that. How would that be?
That would be like, honestly, like, if I'm thinking about it that way, well, I mean, I would understand now, but like, because I'm not in kindergarten, but I would definitely understand what my older self was saying.
How does that feel?
Like, that's definitely a different perspective, and I've never really thought about that. Yeah, like, that just brings me comfort that, like, you know what, like, if I'm in grade 12, like, I might be going to UBC, I might get a scholarship for either like field hockey or volleyball or track and field or like skiing, all this stuff that I do. And just like thinking about my grade 12 self going back and telling me these things really just brings like kind of like peace, like that everything is probably going to be okay.
That's awesome. Thanks for doing this, Lil.
Yeah, of course.